I think there's no question that the draft process has been pretty good to Denzel Ward. And you've seen his projected draft stock rise and elevate over the past couple of months. But I think beyond question, the corner who's had the biggest boom to his draft stock over the past couple of months has to be Yair Alexander from Louisville. This was a guy that only played in half of his team's games, 6 games in 2017. He's not a big corner. He's 5'10", under 200 pounds. So you have size concerns, durability concerns. But now we got people talking about him being a top 20 pick in this draft. It's amazing what happens when you kick ass in the off-season portion of the draft cycle, how you can really make yourself a lot of money. And hats off to Alexander. He's made himself a lot of money in this process. Because very, very, very few people were mocking him in the first round a few months ago. And if they were, it was somewhere in the last couple of picks around 1. And again, that seemed to be kind of the aberration. Now it is an expectation and a borderline demand that not only will he go in the first round, that this guy could go pretty high, could be the second corner taken in this draft. It's just crazy how that works out. And if you primarily were only familiar with him based off of what he did at the Combine, I completely understand. He went to the Combine and he shredded shit. There's no other way to say it. He shredded the Combine. He ran fast. He looked great in the field drills. He was fluid. He was smooth. His quickness and speed showed. He showed ball skills. He showed everything. He came to Indy wanting to be a first-round pick. He left looking the part of a first-round pick. I think there's no question about it. So then teams have to go back and revisit and analyze again. Does the tape match the Combine? Was the Combine a validation? Was the Combine a bit of an aberration? And that's the work that has to be done. Now, when I look at Alexander, I do feel like how he ran and looked athletically at the Combine does show in pads. It's not just a t-shirt and shorts thing. It's not just something that you can spend a couple of months doing a bunch of plyometrics and sprint drills and get yourself to look faster than you really are. That quickness and speed really, really shows on the field. It really, really does. He's a guy that can fly all over the place. He's a guy that has the athletic ability to be able to turn and run with fast wide receivers in the league. He can cover a lot of ground in zone. In fact, he's really, really good in zone because his instincts are damn near top-notch in this draft in terms of corners. This kid's got a wonderful, outstanding feel for the game. Like in general. Now, there's going to be, obviously, exceptions to the rule based off of other things. But if you're asking me what are some of the traits that I value most in a player regardless of position, one of the things I'm going to lean towards are instincts, awareness, football intelligence. Because, man, that can make up for deficiencies in so many other areas. You're not great in run support. You're not great taking on blocks. Well, if you can anticipate where that ball is going and you can beat the blocker to the spot, you don't have to worry about it. If you don't have the most speed in zone or man coverage, but you have a feel and recognize the formation, recognize the route and what's going to happen, you can beat the receiver to the spot. You can anticipate what the quarterback's going to do, and you can make plays on the ball, and you could just absolutely wreck shit, even if you're not a great athlete. Give me those instincts, those awareness, football intelligence, and you feel like you got a chance. You absolutely do. And it translates, like I said, in zone coverage, he's great. In man coverage as well, he's pretty good. I have some concerns about whether or not he's got the ability to play physically enough to hang outside full time. There's a chance. But he's similar in profile to Denzel Ward. And I feel just like Denzel Ward at times, being under 6 foot, under 200 pounds, he plays down to his size and sometimes plays even below that. So I'd like to see him get better there. But the athletics, he's got that. Football intelligence, he's got that. It translates to zone, absolutely. He needs some work on his technique, but he's got great ball skills. You know, obviously not Joshua Jackson level ball skills, but this is a guy that shows a feel to be able to turn his head, locate the ball, make plays on the ball, pick the ball off. He's shown that in the past. He's a guy that you feel like could make some, drive-killing plays for opposing offenses. He's a guy that you feel like can make some momentum-changing plays for the defense and for the team because he can make that big stop on third down, the big stop on fourth down. He could sit there and pick the ball off. He's got that type of ability. I do feel like when you watch him on film, he doesn't leap out as a first-round prospect, though. So I feel like he's just a tad bit of a workout warrior. Like I said, he's not the biggest guy, so you have some concerns about whether or not he can hang outside or if he's going to be primarily a slot guy and maybe you kind of use him as like a Swiss Army knife, nickel-dime defensive back. He's got a little bit of a ways to go in terms of his technique. He's going to need to work on that. He's a bit of a liability in run support. He's not that big, nor does he play incredibly physically. He misses a good number of tackles. He can struggle to hold up against blockers. He can struggle to hold his spot. He can get engulfed and moved out of the way pretty easily. I also felt like at times he kind of played with his foot off the accelerator. Some of that in 2017 could have been because of the injury problems, could have been that he was concerned about getting hurt, but I would have liked to have seen his effort level better. There were times where his effort level was very good, and there were other times that his effort level was not so much. And then we're talking about a guy that only played half of his team games or so in 2017. With hand and knee injury. So it wasn't just one injury. He had multiple injuries in 2017. And he's already kind of got a frailish type of frame, bigger than Denzel Ward, but still 5'10", under 200 pounds. Doesn't play that physically. You worry about whether or not a guy like that can hold up full time in the NFL, playing outside and so forth. So I'm a little concerned about that. To me, when I look at Alexander, I feel like he's more of a high second-round talent than he is a mid to late first-round talent. I see the upside, and I love the combination of the athletic profile and the instincts and awareness, so that's why I bet on a guy like him being able to make an impact in the league and play a long time in the league. It's just the lack of size, and can he play outside? The ability to stay healthy, is it there? Is he going to be too much of a liability in run support to be a base player in your defense? I feel like those are concerns that are only going to get answered with time, but I have to factor them into the grading right now. He's a good prospect, but give me Joshua Jackson and give me Denzel Ward before you give me Yair Alexander.